Okay, it would appear that we are live. So, tonight, I've got a couple ideas I want to go over if we have time. One is a prompt from something my now 7-year-old said to me a long time ago. She was probably 3 years old at the time, and she had questions about the strange creature that lives in the woods with the long blue arms that cuts trees down. It's kind of like a human, and I had no idea what she was talking about. So I took one hack at drawing something to meet that description, but I think it'd be kind of fun to do that again. And then the other concept is a kind of a image that flashed in my head the other night. That was a city situated on a mountainside. You're kind of looking down at it through the clouds, and I thought that might be an interesting thing to approach as well. So anyway, I'm just pulling up a little bit of reference here. I will bring these over so that you can see them. And this is the PureRef app, which just makes this really quick and easy. I'm gonna cut these down. So I thought this might be the pose that I might go for, and we'll work from there. Alright. I also have another website open that is the weirdest website in the world, and that's saying a lot, but it's dedicated to animals with their mouths open. It's called gapingmaws.com. Strange, but useful if you need photo reference of an animal with its mouth open. And then I'm going to use this weird brush that I made, and this is how it works. So with light pressure, you get kind of that opening down the center, and then with harder pressure, you get it's a pretty loose brush still. So I found that this brush was a lot of fun to work with for drawing. I had intended it for like a kind of a special use. Tire tracks is what I had in mind. But the more I use it as a pencil, the more I enjoy it. So I'm going to go with that. And we're just going to draw a couple of gorillas and chimps. We'll go from there. Maybe that will inspire our long-armed, blue-armed, tree-cutting creature. That should be fun. Let's see. Get these angles correct here. Man, they show so much of their teeth. Like when chimps are angry, that mouth just goes super wide. And this ear, actually, you know, for a chimp, it's way up here. I'm used to drawing, you know, getting the ear in line with the eye. It's actually a little bit higher, farther back. And then you kind of have this this delineation where the hair ends. And then you've got that kind of bare skin around the mouth and eyes. I think we'll fill these eyes in to get them a little less creepy looking. Let me zoom in on this so you can see what we're doing here. Alright, so we'll start erasing away. Oops. Got the wrong tool. Need the lasso tool. There we go. So we're going to erase away some of these sections here. Let's see, we got a little bit in there. Get the shape of that nose proper. And look at these teeth. And generally, when you're dealing with teeth, I would deal with them as a block, and then do your cutouts from there. Whoops, wrong button. There we go. So if you can get that shape down, you know, then there's kind of a harmony to how they flow. You know, how the form moves. Right, and then we can do our, you know, our negative cuts out of that. Let's see. Okay, the eye needs a little more definition, I think. So this comes up here. And I think the more we kind of bring this up, the angrier it's going to look. Now we'll have to adjust this a bit because you don't really have, this is supposed to be like a reflection there. And that's looking more like the whites of the eyes, which you don't really see on these. And we're just going to get these shapes sorted out here. And this one I'm going to brush in because even though I want that to be kind of a hard shape there, I don't want it to be completely filled in. Alright, so now we're going to start feathering this back in again because this is a darker area in there. I think this whole nose actually needs to be moved up. So like, whoop, like that. And maybe even smaller. Okay. And then I think we can deal with the silhouette here a little bit as well. Alright, is this guy angry or is he yawning? Hard to tell. Hard to know. And in the photo reference, all this kind of gets lost into black down there. Drops into shadow. Shade that in a little bit. Those teeth a little grungy. Pull up the live stream on the other screen here. So yeah, if you have any questions, comments, go ahead and throw those in the chat. All right. So a little warm up there. Maybe we'll do a pose off of one of the other, one of the gorillas here. Shoulders in there. Let's see if we can get the face blocked in here. And I'm trying to get this, keep this fairly loose. I don't want to get too bogged down. You know, there's a lot of relationships to measure and get right here, but you want to make sure that you're gonna simplify things a little bit. All right. So we're gonna separate the shoulder from the back legs here. Just coming in with the eraser tool. So we've got a back leg there, and then this arm comes out in front, so we want to delineate those two things. It's really interesting too how the fur seems to work on this. It's like very tight here on the elbow, and then kind of flares out after that, and then you have the hands right here. this face up a little bit higher here. Alright, we'll go back to our drawing. Pencil tool. Technically a brush. I don't know why they made a pencil tool in Photoshop. I'm sure someone would tell me, but it just seems kind of silly to have something that does the exact same thing, only 1 pixel. Alright, let's see. I don't want to get too stuck on these particular lines here. Particularly in the face. I think this will need more adjustment, but I want to get the whole pose, all the relationships connected. Alright, so let's see, I'll get the part of what's interesting here, in the reference, is that the upper body is much darker. It's a kind of dark fur, and then the lower back is kind of silvery. I guess that's, would they call this a silverback? I don't know. Guess I'll have to go look that up. One of those things that kind of responsible to do as an artist. I recall somebody telling me this, that you should really pay attention to what it is that you're painting. Not just jump into it, thinking, oh, that's cool, and then, have no idea what it is. Alright, so this is kind of the nice thing about this brush, is that you can use it to paint in a shape and get the edges of that shape. So you can paint like this, and then if I want to bring in maybe a muscle there or something, let's do it the other way here. See how that works there. It's actually, let's see, if we do it like that, yeah. Still getting used to it, but I think it's pretty interesting. Alright, step back on that. Come back in here. Come back in with the eraser. We'll tighten up some of these edges here. In the reference, there's like a hill in front of them like this, so I don't get the feet in that. we've got an edge like this. Kind of a rim light on the fur there. Which comes around like this. Kind of interesting. Let's go to our eraser. Cut into that. I need to bring some of that back in. And then similar thing on the other side. And this actually comes out, so let me erase from the shoulder. This is actually pretty clean, like a pretty clean line there. That. And then the same thing here. I do have a fur brush. I suppose I could be using, but I'm more interested in figuring out the form and the pose for our long-armed, blue-armed thing. Let's see, bring the brush here, kind of smooth that in there a little bit. Whoops, too much there. Erase a little bit there. Bring that in more. I suppose we could draw a little bit of the hill here. And we did completely blow out the eyes, or bring them down to nothing, so we can bring those in here. Just looking for these shapes here. Go to the eraser, start working these away. Okay, that's pretty tall. Crest there. Let me bring that in a little bit. Kind of like it, but this in here. Alright, let's do another one. Let's see, what are these poses? In my reference here, one of the things that I wanted to have was a little more of the chest, because what we're going to have to do to adjust this pose, you know, to bring in these long arms, we're going to have to change that pose to allow for that, because the arms aren't going to come straight down like this. They're going to be, you know, like ridiculously long is the idea. Let's see how I want to do this. This particular gorilla is like looking over his shoulder. Let's get this looked out here on this arm. Comes down like that. And this one. This and the body. Bringing the shadows into the neck. And then the chest. Here. Right, very similar, but a little more foreshortened on this one. This leg is kind of kicks out. No pun intended. But there's a less negative space there than on our previous. Okay, and that's roughly pose that we want. Bring this down here. This is our nostrils here. They could be a little tighter, almost connected like that, and then bring the mouth up. Erase these out and probably brush those in a little more, but I wanted to have something showing in there. And then this brow is a little more furrowed. Alright, so that fur brush that I was talking about, let's bring that in. I do like drawing with this brush. It just has a nice, I don't know, to me it's just a nice soft but textural feel to it. Okay, yeah, so that other brush, let me show you that. Real simple. I'm going to do it on a different layer because I'm like that. Alright, so here's the silhouette. Right? Let me zoom in on that. I'd rather do it larger for you so you can see. So that's to do your silhouette line. And then we have a separate brush for the interior. So let's see. We'll do our And you'll notice that you have to go one direction with this. If you go the other way, you know, it'll be hairy on the inside, smooth on the outside. So, go here, silhouette. And this is actually kind of a smooth line there, and that's what's nice about that, is you can go one way, and then you can increase the size if you want the hair to really be big and fluffy. And then if you don't want any of it, you go the opposite direction. Okay, so with this, we're building a silhouette. We can go a little bit with it and get these interior lines here. We'll see how much we need that, or not. A little bigger with this one here. And I know we're losing some of these edges because it's the same color, but do not worry. We'll bring it back. Alright, so we're going to go just these major kind of overlaps here, where one form passes over another. We're going to try to get that edge. And then we'll do the same thing here on that back rump there. A little larger to get kind of longer hairs in there. And this one you can, it's again, he's behind a rock, but you can start to see his the form of that hand there. So we'll block that in. Alright, so now if I hide my previous layer, these are the edges that I wanted to get in. Alright, and I can see a few more that I'm going to need here, oops, here, maybe there. I think that'll probably work. That's optimistic. It'll probably work. Oh, and we gotta, of course, do the chest area here, so get that loop right in, right? Okay. Now, let's see, we should fill in, we need to keep this edge, because we're going to color some of this, but we need to fill in a little bit behind it. So let's swap our colors here and start adjusting that edge. So we will make a new layer, pin this to the one below it, and feather that in there. And we're doing the same thing, we're just going the opposite direction though this time. So that way we get that kind of interior edge. And so we get it there. And here. And we can do one more along here, along here. Okay. So now I'm going to fill in some of this other stuff. So it's not quite as abrupt on that edge. bring in all of this in here. We just got to fill this in. Man, this seems like a waste of time now that I'm actually going through all of it. It's a little different when you have like an experimental, you know, like just a concept that you're going from prompt rather than going from reference. But I think you'll see here what's going on. Alright, so now I'll go ahead and merge all this together. Merge down, merge down. We'll grab our original drawing here, and we can actually set this to, we'll set that to like multiply, right? So we can just put our little silhouette thing down below that. And then I'm gonna pin this here, and we're gonna go to the next step. So this is the hair inner brush, and we'll go to our brighter color. And same thing with this one, it has a direction to it. So it looks like it is that way. And I might be able to get this to it down. So this one I'm going to make smaller, so I'll zoom in so you can see what's going on here. And you just follow the direction, you know, you go across the form. Whoops, wrong way. Or is it? Here we go. Just full disclosure, this is not a brush that is in any of my released packs. I have a bunch of brushes that I've been considering putting out there. I just haven't yet. Let's see. And you might want to vary the size of this brush just to get, you know, to change it up for different areas of the body. Okay, we'll wrap this up pretty quick because I'm actually less interested in, you know, detailing all of this, and I want to get to the main concept. Zoom out, see what the damage is. Alright, there's our fur. Here's our drawing over top of it. adjust our drawing to match the silhouette here. You know, we could pin it, but I don't think we want to do that. Just want to get these areas here that have a tighter edge to them. I want to get those blocked in. Then, you know, when we're doing this, we can also have a look at that negative space there, you know, here and here, and make sure that those are lining up with our reference. You don't always have to go by the form, basically is what I mean there. You can look at just the shape here and say, okay, there's like this cutout that's shaped, you know, kind of like this. And then simplify that a little bit here. And then same thing over here. There's like a negative shape. Comes up and down and over, like that. And then you can just delete that or use the eraser if you want to get, you know, the similar effect, which I will. I don't want to completely lose the drawing, but cut away from it here. Smudge tool there. I'll go back to the brush and we'll switch back to our which brush was that? Tire tracks. Erase this out a little bit here. There's kind of an interesting transition there, you know, in the reference. And there really actually, you know, I'm showing a knee there, but there really isn't much of one. Maybe just knock that out. Simplify that. And then of course the face is a bit brighter here, so let's do another layer here. just going to blend this in here. And I've just got a mask selected here for the underdrawing, and I'm just now drawing over that with the brighter color. And the nice thing with that is you can get the rim lights and stuff worked out really quickly that way. Depending on how you've drawn it. But you know, if you've drawn the silhouette, then you can quickly change those strokes from dark strokes to light strokes. Like that right there. And you can switch back and forth, of course. Okay. Let's grab all of these and scooch them over a little bit here. Start creeping to the side there. And I'm going to duplicate these. So group that. Take these ones, group them. This one I'm going to merge that group. And we'll do curves on it. Get it kind of where it needs to be. Partly flattening that out a little bit. Maybe we'll go a little higher with that. Alright. The dark doesn't need to be that dark, I don't think. Alright, so we'll merge that down. And let's consider our long-armed, blue-armed, kind of human, kind of not. How did you word that? This was like, this was a very strange moment. It was like nap time, and we're sitting in the living room looking out the window, which overlooks the woods, and she's like, "Dad, what is that? What's that creature with the long blue arms? I think it's like another kind of human. It's the long blue arms, and and it cuts down trees with its claws. What is that? And I was completely confused. But she was like totally convinced that this was a real thing. So, we're just going to go with it as if it is. Exploring the possible silhouettes here. I want this, kind of want this really confident, you know, like I want these long, lanky arms, but I want it to be like kind of tense, like it's pushing into the ground. And then I was thinking it might be like up, you know, have its feet up on a log or something. We'll do one more here. I'll lock the arms in. Just in like that. And I'll just bring the eraser in to get this smoothed out here. Kind of thinking about eliminating that back leg. You know. I'm not sure. I'd have to change the pose. You know, because there's no real overlap here. I think I'm trying to show too much of the form. Alright, I think we'll do maybe one more with more overlap. It'll mimic what we've been seeing with these other ones here. Hide that back leg from view. And just give them like these massive trapezius muscles. Yeah, this one, I think like this whole thing should like come in, be much tighter like that. And Interesting. This is one of those things where you have, here's the description, and then you get the idea in your head, what that could be, and then actually bringing that into reality is so much more of a challenge. Okay, so we'll start playing with these ideas. Get a brush there, we'll set it to multiply. We can use the same kind of thing here. Yawning. And then of course it has to have those sharp claws to cut down trees. So this happened around the time that our neighbor was having a very old, large tree cut down. It started to rot at the base, and it was in a pretty precarious spot over their house, and kind of near ours too. And so they hired a specialist with a really large crane, and the crane arm reached over the house, and had a cutting head on it to take it limb by limb, and had to carry those limbs over the house. And they did a great job. But anyway, I think that's what she was trying to describe. But she must have heard us describing it or something, because her description was very much an animal that she thought this thing was. Or as she said, another kind of human, which is a rather disturbing description of something. Yeah, I think in this drawing I'm kind of losing the tension there by it has to like elbow's got to be locked or something. Makes it look kind of wimpy though, at least in sketch form. All right, let's start refining these a little bit. Let me grab a more straightforward brush here. let's block in the fur so that it has this that delineated shape around the mouth for the skin, and delineation between the skin and the fur, so that the mouth and around the eyes there is just fleshy. And I want a little bit of hair around the chin, but then I want to have the chest be more bare skin there. Bare skin? I thought this was a chimpanzee. Sorry, dad jokes. I am what I am. Alright, and I like the idea of these forearms, you know, really flaring out. This one I had them kind of flare out more towards the wrist. And one of the other designs I had them much larger, you know, higher up there. Okay. Keep this moving quickly because I don't want to get bogged down in trying to render one of these too much when I don't even know which one I like yet, you know. Still deciding what to do for the hands, because we gotta have those tree cutting claws, you know. I guess it doesn't need to have its mouth open, right? Like, it's just a friendly tree cutting, different kind of human creature, as they say. Look at that. And I don't know if I'll be deviating enough, you know, I can see how I'm following a lot of the ideas that I picked up from the gorilla and the chimpanzee. You know. So we'll see how much we deviate from those. But for now, I want to get the big idea locked in. And I liked in the reference how like the elbows were really clean, you know, like tight to the skin, and then the hair really came out on the upper forearms, and then probably a little, well, you know, both of them had kind of a flare out down here, but I think that could be cleaned up, you know, to be tighter there. Again, we could bring in those claws. So let's see. Maybe he's got like a little gimpy pinky, and then he's got these long claws. Back legs, what you gonna be? Just little stubs? Or should we do like, should we have long lanky features there too? You're gonna have to hold on to these trees, right? If you're going to chop them down. Gotta have something to hold on to it with, right? Let's see. Now this guy needs a foot. We'll just do a small foot here. Just something simple. I'm going to make it more foot-like, less hand-like. That pose is getting pretty silly looking. I think that's okay with that one being obscured. Do a few more here. And you know, I don't have to give each one of these this treatment. You know, they could each kind of stand on their own merits. That if they don't hold up, you know, just as a sketch, then you don't have to give them too much more. Though I don't mind it. It's kind of fun, I think. This, to me, looks like a, what's it called? Like a WWE fighter or something, like with a mask. Be a cool costume. Probably exists. It's probably a real thing. Someone who's the gorilla. I wonder if you make this back leg like a hand as well. Give that like a more rounded forehead. Oops. Wrong color there. All right, get back into this arm here. And I guess according to the description, only the arms have to be blue. The rest of it could be totally something else entirely. Alright, there's some potential there. And this last one. Getting a little bit impatient, so probably gonna make this one look kind of silly. And maybe this one will give a different pose with the hands. I feel like there's this, like I should have this tension here, like longer limbs, foreshortened though, so maybe this is like, whoops, on a slope there. And probably all this should just go into shadow. Get the pinch of these muscle groups here. By pinch, I mean like you bring these shadows in, and then you tighten them up to these kind of these little wedges. And that shows how the muscles are kind of inflating. pushing against each other. I think like squeezing a balloon or something, right? That should just be erased. But yeah. Come in with the eraser there. I should just erase the layer below it to get that form. All right. I think that guy could probably tear some trees down, at least some small ones. Okay. I didn't spend much time on the face, and that's probably okay. We'll just do just a little bit. And of course you have to hold these expressions on your face while you're figuring out how to paint them. It is a requirement of the job. It'd be cool if he had just like a funky hairdo. Oh, there you go. There you go, guy. Cool. Alright, and maybe erase away some of that. Bring in some of that dark in here. Maybe put this whole area in this shadow. It's a pretty wide gap here. It's like he needs another finger or two. We'll put two fingers together here. You know, it's almost like a tarantula mixed with a gorilla. That's kind of fun, if that's what you're into. Alright, and they're taking up a lot of space, so we're going to just expand this a little bit here. Go down with that. Benjamin in the chat says Elvis for the hairdo. Yeah, I like it. Crazy. Another kind of human creature in the woods with long blue arms cutting down trees. Elvis. Yeah. I think we can all get on board with that. Alright, so I've just grabbed all that and copied it. So if I group all this, I hide that. So that's what we've brought these down to. So I'm going to move these down like this. We want to paint behind it to get some of that in there. We'll do a new fill. Put that behind. Let's change that. So we're happy, or marginally happy. I want him, or her, on, I was thinking like on a stump, you know, to kind of show this critter. This critter messes up trees. That's what it does. We'll do one here. This is like on the far side of the log there. This one we'll do in perspective maybe. This one's got to be, I think I want to shift that foot around a little bit there, but we'll play with these a bit. This one I'm thinking something like this. Little fungi that has grown on it. Maybe that's like a little branch there that it's holding on to. This one, I'm not sure. I think I want to probably liquefy that. So actually, let me just cut these out real quick so they're separate. And we can just move them around. That would be much easier to deal with. What in the world is this guy doing? He lost his mind. So this one, I'm going to go ahead and make that change real quick that I was talking about. So we'll go to liquefy, and I think I just want to adjust the leg here so that it's like kind of gripping onto the surface. I need to move it down so the bones aren't made out of jello. But is that what I want? Play with that pose a bit. Let's see what we want to do. Do we like these hands like that? A little more tension that way. Maybe bring these fingers in to be more like less delicately grabbing the log and more aggressive. No, more like about that claw right into it. Bring that forward. Puff the chest out more. Actually, I might want to bring this whole leg in here. Get the foreshortening a little tighter. All right, let's just go with that. Don't want to mess with that too long, and then I might just go ahead and straighten that out. Bring it in underneath here, so there's a little more overlap in form there. Okay, this guy needs that to be cut out there. Oops. Oh, wrong layer. That's right. They're all in different layers now. And we want to move this. What would be interesting in terms of, you know, rhythm? You know, go up and down, like that. You know, this you get more of a loop. Nice little calmer. I think I kind of like that original, you know, up and down there, but we could have them. Nah, I kind of like this. Getting awfully fussy over that. Okay, so we'll just go with that. And let's go back to our log layer here. We have this. I think we want to have, like, there's a log down here, right? And then get that there, and then we have another log on top. It's going like this. And do we want to carry that all the way through? Or do we want to cut it off like this? I mean, the whole idea is that these guys and gals cut down trees because they're crazy. Crazy critters. So we do kind of want to show that. Just getting the shadows in on these contact points here. And I'm just trying to show that there's like a mess of logs here. Just a whole bunch of them. These guys and gals have gone crazy. Just cannot stop themselves. Let's go cut down some more. It's in our nature. So I'm just going to use this light and dark and just kind of go back and forth. It's probably going to be overkill, but you know what? I'm fine with that. And is it not the least bit ironic that the brush that I'm using is based off of some wood grain? See that? That's the circle of life right there. Okay. So we're going to go back and forth here, getting these edges right, because we've got, of course, hard and soft edges on our shadows. So we want to show that, you know, there's lighting coming this way. But then a hard shadow, you know, underneath. You know, for cast shadows, that is. So you have your rounded forms, and that's going to give you a soft shadow, like this, as we go around. And then your cast shadows are going to be from, well, they're going to have a hard edge. So like underneath here, you know, we want this edge to be sharp. You can zoom in on that. So that edge to be sharp to show there's a cast shadow, and then this transition to be soft to show that it is a turn of the form. And generally speaking, you kind of have them blend into each other, right? You have your soft shadows, you know, having this soft transition here, but by the time they meet in complete, you know, wherever it's completely facing away from the light, that's where it's going to be the same value, because it's the absence of light there. Let's see. And what shadows are doing is they're giving you information. They give you information on how close this object is to the form. So if we have a tight, you know, hard edge shadow here, and we, you know, tighten that edge up there, then that's showing that's a contact point right there. Just the distance from the edge. So same thing. Like here, we zoom in. We bring that wedge right there, you know, to the point where it contacts, which makes sense, right? But if you're casting a shadow and there's some distance, like for here, for example, this is kind of going over that other shape of the log. So that's going down like that. And then we have our shadow in here. So that's showing our the distance from this wrist to this log below it. And if we tighten that up, then it's showing that they're basically touching. And I'm going to have this. Well, do I want that to roll? If that roll down, then this whole thing is being shadow. I don't know if I want to do that. Kind of like showing, having some of the light come through there. It would make sense for me to just nail down a light source and say that's what it is, but I'm still kind of designing the light where I want it to be interesting. So I'm willing to cheat the forms and cheat the light a little bit, just to show that these are interesting to look at. That's really what it comes down to. All right, this one here, I will probably change the form of that hand so that it's digging into this. Give that log some form there, and here. Let's see, this needs to put it right up underneath that. And I don't know if I even want this here. I put this in to kind of have something pointing up to this character, and I might eliminate that, but we'll try it out for now. And of course I can make all these shapes a little more irregular. They're way too, they should be kind of all over the place. But again, we are designing to some degree here. We want these to point to areas of interest. And I don't necessarily mean, point directly to it, like, hey, go over there. But we want them to lead the eye around the scene, in an interesting way. You don't want to lead it, completely off, right? Okay. And, with these sharp tree cutting down claws, how would these things look, I've got them cut up like they're cut up by a chainsaw, which, is literally what happened. But in her mind, if there was a creature that could do this, you know, what would that look like? Cast a few shadows in here. Break that up a little bit. Maybe bring some split areas there. And then bring in the light. We can of course pin that layer. Bring our light in like this. Kind of like that one, just getting obscured. Might do the same thing here. Have that kind of fade out to nothing as it goes off the canvas. And I should probably get back to the creature itself, do some more designing on that. Just having too much fun with these logs. Should we push all this back? So like if we do like a shadow, oops, here, that kind of shows this tree, you know, that's where it lands in space. Maybe we tighten that up a little bit. And knock it back in value. We want this, cast a shadow there. Let's do that again. I don't like how that worked out. Figure out that contact point. Shouldn't be that difficult, but for whatever reason, struggling. Oh well, we'll leave it like that. Let's see, what else do we need here? Hopefully this might look a little too much like the light is. Yeah, we might not want to do that. Just take that all the way back. Yeah, so from there to there. I just think that's too distracting. I don't like it. Fading off to nothing. There. Though I might bring in a little bit more here. Okay. Tighten these shadows up. And this would be a really tight shadow there because it's so close. It shouldn't really have a soft edge. It'll soften as it gets farther from the from the source. You know, so we can kind of feather it a little bit here, and you'll soften it even more. Maybe there. Shadow. Do you want to put this in shadow as well? There's all that stuff behind him. Yeah, I feel like these we don't want as close as I had originally drawn them. So they're kind of coming up and over. Alright, bring in some maybe vertical. So, is this some crazy nest way high up in the trees, or does this meet the ground plane? You know, right here-ish. Tis the question. Okay. create a gradient back here. Do you want it that way or that way? We've got light from above, so it makes more sense to grade it that way. And then maybe some kind of greenish for the floor here. Come in with a more aggressive brush. Some mosses on the floor there. Let's see, background, maybe you could have some lower vegetation. Yeah, I might change that blend mode, or come back over it with a color pass on it. Should probably get a reference for this. That would make sense. A lot of things that would make sense. Not sure how much of that is showing up here. Yeah, I'm not sure that I like any of this, actually. Putting this in the background here. We shall see. This, I might just duplicate that a couple times. Come back to our critters. We can do maybe overlay, do a nasty square standard. The arms have to be blue. That's like the only thing we gotta get right. Everything else we can totally botch. But the arms better be blue. So, let's make that happen. And yes, I am making the face right now. You have to. Let's see. Get these teeth a little messed up here. I don't know. I might brush that out. Well, too much. And back there. She might just erase that. And I'm just going to get some more of this blue in the transitions. We'll probably shift. We'll shift some of this over. We might get some more natural tones in there. But for now, I think that was kind of fun. Let's do the next one. Blue arms, that's the important part. I do kind of like these black shoulders on this one here, but I do want to show maybe something a little more interesting. I like the idea of these rings, or like a pattern in the fur. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm really slowing down on these at this point, which I guess is a sign that it's almost midnight here. Wasn't really paying attention to that. Alright, maybe we try something a little different for this one. That should be darker in there, kind of recessed. And something tells me like a bluish purple. Makes sense. Okay. Okay, bring this hard shadow, bring this whole area down here into shadow. That's like too much contrast there. Those arms, and then this, I think I want to go right across the color wheel and kind of get that to a nice gray. Okay, this is shifting towards the dark green there. I'm going to bring that back. Okay. Come back to that one. I think that one needs more love. Okay, so let's see. This one, I can play with the colors, but I'm thinking what we need to do is I have to adjust. Might have to paint over that one. Let me zoom out here. Huh. It's a lot stronger. So I'm going with the overlay, right? But some of these other methods here, vivid light, hard light, I kind of like just how powerful that is. Though it's crazy. Let's do this. We'll do one like that. So we'll set to overlay. So it's doing what it was doing before. This one we'll just bring down just a little bit so that we get some of those hue shifts in there. Very nice. Alright, we'll try that with one of these as well. I don't think I did as much with hue on this one. Yeah, so that one's not really going to work like that. I think I just went in with the blue and the black, and I think what it needs is some of these tones in there. But we might just do those manually. You know, just bring it in like such. Maybe on the hands a little bit. Kind of interesting. Alright, this next one here. This one might be a decent candidate. Oh, that's freaky. Borderline horrifying. Alright, let's look for some other options there. take some of this here and shift that over. And maybe bring something brighter into this area so we actually see a little piece of the eye rather than, you know, completely losing it. Here's one cantankerous looking critter. What's bothering you? Talk about it. Flatten out these values a little bit so it's a little more hair-like, I guess. Wouldn't be so shiny unless it's like very oily, which it could be. It could be. Okay, I'm going to go back to this one. I think I need to bring some of these flattened tones into those arms. Let me bring in this muted. Pink, not pink, what am I saying? Blue, purple kind of tone in there. For the hands. And maybe change that transition color there to be less abrupt. We do the same thing here. Bring just a little bit of that back in there. This hue back into these back feet there too as well. Let's see, this guy, we're going to erase those. Okay, and this last one over here is going to need something. Who knows? Doesn't need to go all the way black with that. Teeth can be kind of yellowish. Too bright. Maybe even a little more towards orange. We need like gums. A little darker than that. I don't know what I'm doing here. Just kind of playing. See what we get. blue. Maybe just a little bit. It's too saturated. The Elvis hair. Let's put like just a gray stripe in that. These details are important. All right, let's see, a little bit of this white on the trim here. Here on the shoulder. Bring the blue back in there. A little bit down here. Okay, I think we need to homogenize that. Homogenize. And then bring the shadow in down here. I'm going to have to zoom out and have a look at this again. Because the shape here is wrong. I mean, obviously, this is a huge hyperbole, crazy proportions here, but you still have to get these believable muscle groups. We're just so familiar with these things, right? Like you can see how a limb is pulled by a muscle. You just kind of know it intuitively. And so when you see it and it's wrong, you're gonna see it right away. It's hard to ignore. So. Yeah, the way that arm is turned, I think it would come over this way. He's like yawning. Oh man, I don't want to move another log. Needs more emotion than that. There you go. Angry eyes. I'm thinking though, is I want him to be looking, maybe he's looking at us. Get that squinty eye going on. We want that. Or do we even want to catch light? Not sure. A catch light does bring a lot of life into the eye, but it's not always appropriate. Sometimes the lighting is such that you don't get one. And of course you can cheat these things quite a bit, but there are limits. You could push that too far and it would not look, it would not seem to be correct. I do kind of like that, having these front teeth like that. What do they call those? Incisors. This one's in need of a little adjustment. I don't know if that is necessary there. Maybe just the slightest hint of a shift. And a little bit there. Let's do the eyes. And I'll throw some catch lights in there. Make them look a little nicer. He's like the only one that's like, it's not such a big deal, guys. Chill out. We just cut trees down. It's not a big deal. All right. Let's go. Bring in some color there. Do we want to bring it in anywhere else? Maybe around here? Nah. And then this guy could use just a little bit of touch. You're almost there, buddy. You're just a little bit off. Let's get this. Get those teeth in the right zone. I do like the shift to blue in there. It's kind of cool. Maybe get these eyeballs looking serious. They mean business. And maybe just a little bit of pink in the transition area there. And again, gotta make the face while you're doing this, or it doesn't count. And we'll go a little bit deeper and bring it here into Gums. What do you think, fella? You want some catch lights in there? It'll liven you up a little bit. And for this blue, I'm just going to grab something just a little bit more tame in terms of color. Pin that layer there so I can just kind of fade those in. Let's see if that's doing us any good. So we'll zoom out here. Okay, I like it mostly. I think it needs to be tamed in here. Let's zoom back out. Erase away at some of this here. Bring it back. Okay, now all of these are being pushed down to black, which is not a great thing. We'll grab some of this, maybe some of the green, and desaturate it. Which one are we on? This guy? Yeah, bring some of this in. Oh, that is really not that subtle. Let's bring it down. Here we go. We'll bring that in here. Bring these blacks up in value a little bit here so they're not totally black. And it's just going to give us, it's going to integrate it a little more into the scene. You never really see a true black like that. So this is going to give us a little bit of reflected light. And we'll do some on the next one. Just kind of doing it on that bottom plane that would catch light bouncing back up. That's the idea. We want to do that as much as possible. I mean, you don't want to go too crazy and ruin the illusion, right? That it's bounce light. But we are trying to bring this value up, homogenize it into the scene, and then I think a lot of this background we're going to increase the contrast, and we'll probably just do that with an adjustment layer. Do it quickly. Let's see, one more character. Actually, this one's already a little bit brighter. It's not as much of a problem with this guy. Though there's a lot more blue in there. I never really did push this one down that dark in value. Okay, this guy's face bothers me a little bit, like it's a little too muted, but let's just go with it. We'll get actually I might push this guy a little bit here. Where's that chest? We'll just do it on this one. That's the mouth layer. Just want to blend this in a little bit more. That. Alright, so something like that. I don't know. Thought it needed something. Not sure if we gave it that something. I think it needs to be, like, I just don't like that harsh transition there. But at this stage, I'm not sure if I have the patience to really keep pushing through with that one. I kind of want to get to background and final color as it is after midnight now. So let's do that. Do one little adjustment here. And maybe just darken that whole thing up. We'll go with multiply. Bring in the face. And then see how much of an effect we want that to actually have there. All right, let's go to our, well, we'll group all these so that we don't completely lose them. That we can just bring them in and out. Then here's our logs. We'll go to curves. Color balance. Look at it as a whole image. And then we'll address them all together. Like I want to get it close so that it looks like the light is similar. Somewhere in there. Okay. Now we can address the whole thing as one. And I think we're going to want things generally in these midtones so that we can really keep that saturation really high. Okay. We'll go hue saturation. We'll isolate our blues. Pump that all the way up so that we get it dialed in. Tighten that up a little bit here. And we're just trying to isolate this in the flesh tones there. Though we could also pin it down to that group. That might be another way to handle it. But let's go with this for now. All right, so here's our. Well, are we getting this guy? Let's make sure we're getting all that. I'm just trying to get this dialed into the right satisfying tone there. Hue, rather. I actually kind of like those slate purples there. We'll go to the reds. Bump that all the way up. Isolate it. Let's see, what else do we want to address? The greens. Let me bring those yellows back down. And then where's our log layer? These guys right here. So I'm going to duplicate that, pin it to its, well, maybe we'll just leave it like that, and then we'll maybe go to overlay, bring those shadows up really strongly. Strongly? Is that a word? Strongly. Yeah, more strongly. I like this, not entirely, but I do like it. And then let's do a color balance. Until everyone's happy. Like, it's kind of extreme. Seems fitting, you know, very dramatic. And I do want that blue to be, I don't know, being as it's kind of the center of the whole concept. I want it to be, I want it to feel right, be just the right hue. And I think we'll do another hue saturation layer here. We'll grab that blue and see if we can refine it a little more. Now I'm tempted to do the blend if option, but I know what's going to happen. We're going to crash if we do that. Alright, well, we can do our usual, the overlay. Too blue there. It'd be kind of interesting to add in some leaf pattern shadows or something like that. Let's do I could try that whole idea with the leaf patterns. Do I have a scatter brush here? Something like this. and then I think we need to blur them along the form. Now, if you have a more linear form, it's pretty easy. You would just use a motion blur or something like that. And frankly, this doesn't have to be this complicated as it is. You know, I'm doing things the hard way here for who knows why. Who knows why? Probably because I'm late, or it is late and I'm tired. There's a reason enough, I think. Oh, that's interesting. I like switch that for some reason. Had it running the opposite direction. Excuse me. Alright, I'll bring that in at the appropriate level. Yeah, I kind of like it having that almost comic book style, you know. And just for kicks, I think I might bring in some rim light on these guys and just see what we can do with that. We'll go with nasty square standard. And I've just color picked that that light in the background there. Now it will also be affected by all of these adjustment layers over it. I'm aware of that. And just catching an edge here, you know, trying to bring out this form a little more. And hair, you know, this is getting a little crazy here, but hair would pick up a lot of that light that's behind it. Not necessarily like this, because I'm showing this kind of as a rim light, whereas hair would pick this up if it were, you know, if the light's behind the character. We'll come back and make decisions on where we want this, where we don't. Sorry, there isn't much talking going on here. It's just pretty, I don't know, it's pretty mundane. You know, you're picking the edge that is kind of closest to that light source, and giving it this rim light. It's not too, nothing too complicated there. You know, obviously a good portion of this is going to be subjective. Like, you could do this like perfectly analytically, you know, like render it based on the light, but that's not really what I'm interested in doing here. I'm really trying to get things to pop forward, you know, and with the tree canopy, I'm just going to have that excuse that, you know, light's coming in at all these different angles, you know, being diffused by the canopy. But really, it's just, we're just trying to get it to be interesting to look at. Then come in with the eraser. And deal with this however we see fit. So we might want to carry this through. There. And I will admit that at this stage, you know, some of these things, catching this highlight on there, because it's anatomy that didn't actually go through and you know, do properly from the get-go. But it's kind of a shorthand, you know. And then, of course, what we can do is adjust this color. Actually, I'm going to erase a little bit more here because we've got, you know, more than we really need. Going a little crazy there. More than a little. Going very crazy there. So now we can go hue adjustment. We're not doing this as an adjustment layer. We're just doing this directly to the layer. So we can adjust that to our liking. We'll zoom out. You know, just how aggressive do we want to get with this? I don't know. I kind of like the. Go with the softer approach there. I did kind of like the orange though. We'll go with that. Probably a good place to call it here. I think there's, you know, as always, there's more we could do. Did I just move that on accident? Whoops. Should probably lock that in place. There's more that we could do. But I don't know. I think it's an interesting image. Okay, so let me group all this together and we can compare. First thing we did, so this is where we started. We did these, we did a chimpanzee, a couple gorillas, and then we started playing with these long blue arms, and then design the rest of the composition around it. And I think if I were to come back and finish this off, what I would probably do is just go in and paint manually over everything. You know, grab this blue here, and just come in and, you know, kind of smooth things out. Try to work out that black. You know, those might be the approaches to it. Though I do like the drama of the black. I just think that the image could certainly be clarified. You know, it's quite a bit. It's quite rough, and I think, given the nature of the hair and all that kind of stuff, like makes sense. So I think you would want to clarify the image, and by you, I mean, I guess this is my image. It's my responsibility. Clarify the image so that it reads really well on a first read. Okay. That being said, I think I'll stop there. just that slight paint over, you know, there's very, very minor adjustments to it. So, excuse me. All right, let's see. A little full screen here. So, this is what we did tonight. A little crazy, but I guess that's par for the course. That's it for me. And as always, I hope you had a project you were working on as well. Maybe picked up some ideas from this. But all in all, I think if you're painting, putting the miles in, and mindful about what you're doing, you're going to keep growing, and that's the whole point for me to be doing this, and to be doing it as just something that I enjoy, you know, painting for painting's sake, right? So, thank you for joining in tonight.